Hello, everybody. This is Bobby Keyser, and you are listening to the Son of Man Urantia podcast. Hope you're all doing well out there. In this episode, we have the highlights for Chapter 4, Jesus at Jerusalem. Number 1. Passover began well for Jesus. He was excited to see the temple. Jesus was to become a man, and he could then be part of the discussions that were held there. Women couldn't watch the ceremonies. Jesus thought this was wrong, but kept quiet. Once inside the temple, Jesus got sad with what he witnessed. Number 2. Jesus questioned Joseph about what he saw in the temple. Joseph answered using his beliefs in an angry God who would hurt us if we did wrong. Jesus said no, explaining, "If God loves me more than you do, and if you wouldn't hurt me for offending you, then how could God do so?" The temple buildings were huge. Jesus thought everything was too routine and impersonal. People were selling animals and changing money. Rabbis were bloody, and terrified animals were screaming. Blood flowed across the floors. Jesus told Joseph he had to leave. Number 4. Passover was 7 days long. Jesus learned his way around the temple area. He wasn't a full 13 years old yet, so he wasn't supposed to speak during the temple talks. Jesus met over 150 people from around the world while he was there. His mom and dad just wanted to get him home. Number 5. After Passover week, everyone from Nazareth went home in 2 groups, men and women. Jesus got left behind. He spent the day listening to the talks in the temple, then spent the night at Simon's in Bethany. Mary and Joseph didn't know that he was missing until that night in Jericho. Number 6. Jesus decided to speak at the temple talks. On the way back to Jerusalem, he stopped at the Mount of Olives again. This time, he cried for his people. They had both an angry God and the Roman legions over them. Their bondage was complete. His mom and dad were looking for him. Number 7. At the temple, Jesus questioned killing a drunk Gentile for entering a sacred Jewish area. His questions stumped the rabbis. People started coming to hear Jesus talk. He taught by both questioning and showing a better way. He was always respectful. This went on for 3 days. On the 4th day in the temple, Jesus' parents found him. Joseph was quiet. Mary got mad. After scolding him in front of everyone, Jesus stood up. He told his mom and dad they should have known to find him in his Father's house, since it was time to do his Father's business. Number 9. Going home, Jesus again stood on the Mount of Olives. This time he vowed to return, clean out the temple, and release his people from spiritual bondage. At home in Nazareth, he told his parents he'd never make them worry again. If he didn't agree, he'd still obey. Okay, everyone, those are the highlights of Son of Man Urantia, Chapter 4, Jesus at Jerusalem. This week's Chapter 5 is 2 Crucial Years. Enjoy, my friends, and have a super week out there.